And even when I became a doctor, my desire was to join the military. So this made me only do the first degree, and I had to rush and join the military. There was place for basic education, for Form 4, for even primary. And they were not very comfortable with very learned people. So when I got my first degree, I was just too good to join the military. When I was growing up, I used to have complete military uniform. Even in high school, I had a complete gear. I had my backpack.
The combat.
They used to arrest me when I was wearing these things at times because I could be completely attired, such that they would mistake me.
Yeah.
I decided to support my governor, current governor, James Orengo, and we campaigned well for him. And at the end of it, I didn't know what was happening, and he chose me to be one of his waziris. As I speak here, I am now serving my governor, James Agre Orengo, as his Minister for Health.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all the viewers wherever you are viewing in and listening in from. My name is Ahmed Khalif, and as usual, this is DURB Radio, your number one online station. You know, this is the platform whereby we give you unscripted stories of motivation. So as usual, when I introduce myself in Swahili, huwa nasema mimi ni kijana wa mashavu ambaye napenda kutabasamu kila wakati na kile nisijopenda labda ni uzi mbwega. So today I have a great friend that I knew recently. I don't want to talk much about him. I want him to tell his story by himself. Yes, in Kenya it's evening. But those who are watching us, they might be watching it in the evening, morning. So that's why I introduce us good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever people are watching. So if we start, maybe just tell us your name and basically a story about you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed. My names are Dr. Martin Odhiambo Konyango. And I was born in 1957, 18th February. I come from West Ugenya, and that is Ugenya sub-county in Siaya County. And that is in Kenya. I was born in a polygamous family. My father, the late Konyango, had 2 wives. In total, we were 8 children from my mother and 7 children from my stepmother. And I was the 5th born out of the 8 children from the first wife. In terms of schooling, I went to school, primary school, Umwent Primary School, that is currently West Ugenya. And I then moved to St. Mary's Yala. And from St. Mary's Yala, I went to Mosocho for high school because I did the previous old system where we used to have 7, 4, 2, and then university system.
That is 7 years in primary
school and 4 years in secondary school, 2 years in high school, and then university.
The one they used to call Form 5 and Form 6.
Form 5 and Form 6.
Okay.
So I did my primary in Umwent Primary School, my secondary in St. Mary's Yala, and my high school in Cardinal Otunga, Mosocho, that is in Kisii, And I went to university, Nairobi University, where I did MBCHB as my first degree. I did not venture into a lot of specialization thereafter, but I continued with further learning and education, mostly after getting employed. After my first degree, I got employed with the Ministry of Health as a medical officer. But because of the background to my family, where I come from, the common job that most people used to do was uniformed service. And this was military,
Yes.
or police, or prison. And even when I became a doctor, my desire was to join the military. So this made me only do the first degree, and I had to rush and join the military.
So what was the requirement by then to join the military? Was that a degree unnecessary, or just that came as an interest that you've always had and a passion that you wanted to pursue?
Thank you. The requirement for joining the military, and even up to now, is just basic education. The military has never been very strict. Maybe if it is changing now, but there was place for basic education for Form 4, for even primary. And they were not very comfortable with very learned people. So when I got my first degree, I was just too good to join the military. So after doing my first degree, because I had too many relatives in the military, and because even when I was growing up, I used to have complete military uniform. Even in high school, I had a complete gear. I had my backpack.
The combat.
They used to arrest me when I was wearing these things at times, because I could be completely attired, such that they would mistake me.
Yes.
So my urge was to get to the military. So I joined the military, and my further education and specialization were after getting employed. The further education that I got thereafter, because of the love for the military, were basically higher diplomas in various areas, including I specialized in aviation medicine. I specialized also in emergency medicine. And these specializations were appropriate for the various areas that I was working in while I was in the military. I joined the military in 1985. Maybe I need to go back a bit. I completed primary school in 1970. And I completed Form 4 in 1974. I completed Form 6 in 1976, and I joined the university in 1977. We graduated MBCHB, Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery. That is a 5 years of medical school. We completed it in 1982. 1982 was the year that Kenya went through the unfortunate event of I was so good in the medical planning work, and there was an opportunity to be employed, and I negotiated with the military, and they allowed to give me early discharge. And I left the military honorably. I retired, and I joined the UN now as a civilian. I joined the United Nations in 2009 as a civilian, having served in the UN from 2006 up to 2009. And when I joined the UN as a civilian, and having been a medical planning officer, I joined as a, a deputy chief medical officer in one of the missions. So I moved from New York and I went to Sudan. And in Sudan, I worked as a deputy medical officer, a deputy CMO, deputy chief medical officer, for 2 years until the partition of Sudan. And when Sudan was partitioned, the mission that I was serving in was UNAMSIL, United Nations Mission in Sudan. And when that one was partitioned in 2011, I then was moved to a new formed mission, which was UNISFA, United Nations Interim Support Force for Abyei. And I started that one now as the chief medical officer. And I worked in UNISFA from 2011 up to the time I reached 65 years. And that was last year in 2022. I retired in 2022, 28th February. I usually feel that although I did medicine and I became a doctor and I specialized in rare fields like aviation medicine and of course the challenging field of emergency medicine, I became more of an administrator and a manager. I retired last year, 2022, as I said. On 1st of March, I was a retiree. I came back home to Siaya. I found campaign going on. And because I had a few dollars, I decided to support my governor, current governor, James Orengo. And we campaigned well for him. And at the end of it, I didn't know what was happening. And he chose me to be one of his waziris. As I speak here, I am now serving my governor, James Agre Orengo, as his Minister for Health. That is County Executive Committee Member for Health. That's my story for now. Thank you very much.
Now, we are basically telling a story of a man who have had 3 retirements.
2 retirements?
Two. If you know, after this it will be a 3rd.
After this, I'll have retired 3 times.
Amazing. First retirement, how many years?
25 years in the military.
In the military.
Choose to do what they enjoy in life. I was a bright student. I studied medicine, but all my life was to be a military person. And when I got in the military, I was able to be patient for 25 years. So it's very important that you do what you are comfortable with, what you love most, what you like. The other thing in life is that pray to your God to allow you to notice which window is open and you jump in. For example, when I was in the military, I insisted to go and train in military tactics. That's how I went to the Staff College in Karen. And that was a window which the good Lord put before me, and I used it. I then applied for the job to go to New York. So again, another opportunity, and I took it. So it's very important that when I was in New York, I discovered there was need to jump out of the military, and I also asked for it, and I was lucky. So it's a matter of how much your God is with you, how much you can notice which window of opportunity and how to use it. I think these are some of the things I can share with the youth and the young people.
Thank you so much, Dr. for your time. I know you are a busy man and having this time to at least tell us a summary, a brief about your life. I understand you have an interest of someday coming up with a book about your biography. I hope that will see the light of the day someday.
Uh, you are correct. I was thinking that not everybody has to be a great writer, a great person. We also need books for humble and simple people. From what I have narrated, my life is not very big, is not very great, is not very historical as such. But I feel that because of my experiences, especially in the battlefield, and I already have a draft of what I went through in Sierra Leone. Um, I always thought that it is good to capture this and put in a book for the coming generation, especially my family members. In that book, I intend to capture our organogram as a family, our family tree, because I feel that where life is going, one aim of this book would be to keep our family united. The way life is going, and the youth currently, in a short while, they'll not know their roots. And I am planning to capture my life in a simple book. The draft is there. There's also the draft for my experiences in the military. So these ones would be an encouragement to the youth, and especially.
Thank you so much, Dr. I wouldn't ask more than this because I understand we have time constraint. But wherever we find time, guys, I promise you this. There's a lot. There's a lot to learn from Dr. here, especially from the medicine field, the military field, and now as a waziri. So basically, this is a man with different kind of lives. If you say camouflage, maybe that is it. So very first, go to our handles, go to our social media platforms. In Facebook, DURB Radio. In Twitter, DURB Radio. Instagram, DURB Radio. YouTube, DURB Radio. Kindly subscribe in YouTube. Follow us on Facebook so that we have more followers. We get the motivation to bring you more motivational stories. We get to know incisive stories. It's not only about the people that you perceive as heroes, but personally, I take Dr. here as a hero. Thank you so much.
Can I say the last word?
Absolutely.
And this word is for another day. I'm highly philanthropic. I did not mention all the support I have done in my short life. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. Bye bye. Let's meet on the next episode. Ahmed Khalif.